welcome everybody. We're excited for this session. We've got Rachel coming from Okendo. We're going to be talking about beyond the buy button, engaging customers across every touch point. Rachel, thanks for joining, and how are you?
Thanks, Gabe. I'm doing really well today.
Good. Well, we got this figured out. We had a couple technical difficulties, but we are ready to rock and roll. Rachel, tell us just a little bit about yourself and some of the cool things you guys do over there at Okendo.
Yeah, hi, I'm Rachel Tyers. I'm the SVP of Marketing and Partnerships at Okendo. I've been in digital marketing and e-commerce for about 15 years now. I was first entering my career as a paid media buyer in Facebook ads, and then I moved over to LA from Australia. You might hear the accent.
Is
Um,
that what that is? I was wondering.
right.
Got it. Got it. Okay. That's a big move. LA. Okay. LA, Australia. Yes.
Yeah.
Wow.
And so I was the VP of Partnerships at Mute 6, the direct response media agency. And then I started a headless e-commerce platform, Nasal. And then 5 years ago, I started at Okendo as SVP here. Now, Okendo, if you don't know, we specialize in reviews, loyalty, referrals, quizzes, and surveys for
Yes.
brands on Shopify. And we work with 16,000 merchants at the moment. That number increases
Wow.
pretty drastically by the week. And those brands, everything that works on Shopify works on Okendo. So Skims, Soylent, True Classic, all these brands that you know and love.
Wow. That 16, that's a lot. Congratulations, you
Thank
guys.
you.
Well, that's a fun kind of career trajectory. If you liked sounds like you were on the dark side, more like with me in marketing, but you've moved more into partnerships. You've liked the transition?
I like having both. It's been
Got it.
great. I think that in the Shopify space, ecosystem is so
It's
important.
so
So
tight, right?
marrying partnerships and partner marketing has been really great for
Yeah.
growth.
I think that's a great point. Yeah, to bring those two pieces together
Mhm.
is not a bad idea. A lot of companies, some companies do, some companies don't. Well, that's fun. Appreciate you giving us a quick overview. You've been doing this a long time. Interested to see kind of how you take your take on the space and some of the different things going on. Want to dive into this topic of customer journey. You guys deal with this so much. Where do you feel like most brands lose customers in the journey, and how do you guys start to coach people to fix that?
Yeah, I think we really want to focus on once you get traffic to the website, how do we convert them at the highest
Yes.
speed? So there are a few key ways that Okendo can help out on that side. Definitely having robust reviews on your website to make sure
Mm.
that you're leveraging that social proof from your customer base and not just having like reviews with the title and the content. You want to make sure that you're showcasing customer attributes so that people can align their purchase decision with people that have similar characteristics to them.
Mm.
On top of that, I would definitely implement a quiz if you hadn't yet. We're seeing quizzes converting at about 20% plus.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, and that helps with decision fatigue. And you can also pick up those zero-party data points on your shoppers that you can leverage down the line
Mm.
to better personalize for their needs. And then my last top tip for converting is one that I learned from Brandco. If you know Neil Popkin,
Yeah, of
he
course.
was working on Cut from the Cloth, and he's implemented a pop-up survey for high intent shoppers on the collection page or
Oh,
on product pages. And that survey collects a little bit of characteristic preferences from shoppers. And then he sends a follow-up email with a discount code for those shoppers. And that's his highest converting email. So it's these like little nuances where you can use tools really effectively to make sure you're converting at the highest rate.
I love that. I love that. One follow-up maybe just on the quizzes. What would you mentioned a couple examples on the last one with the pop-up and maybe survey. What
Mm.
type of quizzes do you or is it short? Is it fun? Like what's the where did people use that? Maybe one more click down. Any quick thoughts?
Yeah, probably like 5 or 6 questions is what
Five or
I'm
six, yeah.
thinking. Summer Fridays, for example, has multiple quizzes. One will be like on their skincare, like
Yeah.
the perfect routine for you. And then one's actually a shade finder for their foundation. So you can use them in quite a few ways. And that's also a good tool to be weaving into your
Yeah.
email strategy and
Like that.
engaging your community and getting a bit more data from them, but giving them product recommendations that really make sense for them.
I love it. I love it. That's a great one. You guys are probably around. One of the things we keep hearing is just automation, AI, AI, AI. How do you feel like, or how do you see people recommending kind of this balance of automation and really authenticity when organizations are trying to, always do more with less?
Yeah, it's a good question. When it comes to AI, we're of course doing the AI review summaries, so that helps
Yeah, cool.
capture a nice snapshot of what your
Yes.
customers think of the product. But as it relates to automation, there are a few things that you can do that can streamline processes for your team. One of them
Hmm.
that I recommend involves customer. So you can set up auto-publishing rules on reviews that come in above a certain star rating. So maybe everything
Oh,
4 stars
yeah.
and above gets automatically published if the sentiment is good. And so that saves your team a lot of time. And then anything that comes in with a 3 star rating or below perhaps creates a ticket in
Hmm.
customer so that your team knows to reach out to that shopper and see if they can mitigate any sort of negative experience. And then you can respond publicly and or privately to customers that haven't loved the product for whatever reason
Hmm.
and see if you can turn that experience that might have been negative into a positive one.
Yeah, that's awesome. Those are some really good examples. Do you feel like there's um I want to get your quick take on this. So many people talk about this idea of omni-channel and multi-channel and meeting the customer where they are in their buyer journey. But do you feel like there is one channel or touch point that's maybe a little more underutilized that you think brands maybe should be taking more advantage of?
Yeah, one that I'm hearing from a lot of brands is that loyalty doesn't work for us.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting because I think that there was a wave maybe in 2021, 2022, where everyone was getting a loyalty program, but
Totally.
there wasn't a lot of thought going into how each tier should be set up, what
Yes.
makes sense for the brand, what perk makes sense for the margins as well. And so people have been a little bit burnt and they just think it doesn't work for them. And as you know, Okendo now offers loyalty, and we are working with brands that have previously had poorly performing loyalty programs or haven't even been able to launch
Mm.
because there were so many issues up front. And we're turning that experience around because we're approaching it differently. So we know it's not a one size fits all program. We're doing a deep dive into the data and figuring out where those tiers make sense and how to incentivize
I love
those
that.
next breaks and those repeat purchases where it's not going to eat into your subscription user base and it's not going to negatively impact you by offering too many perks that eat into your margins.
Mm.
So yeah, we've had really successful loyalty launches and it's something I'm really proud of.
Yeah, look, I think that you're right. I think people have wanted to do that, but doing it right is, I think, it's just been a
Right.
challenge, I think, for a lot of organizations, getting it
Yeah.
right, the right tier, right segment,
Yeah.
etc.
And continuing to remind people that you have a loyalty program. You can't just forget. You really need to make
Yeah, yeah, that's right. You always get the big kind of bang, and then
yeah.
it kind of flutters out a little bit after a few years. You got to find ways to kind of reinforce that. That's a great point. Another one is you guys play in the review space, and sometimes I think CX in general gets this not a bad rap, but it's softer metrics. It's maybe things that aren't as tangible for the CFO or something like that. When it comes to the review game, any examples you've found where customers have been able to really optimize that program or strategy, customer feedback to drive more real business outcomes or real results?
Yeah, I love seeing merchants using their real customer content in ads.
Yeah.
One that I found quite funny was our client Myson, who does really high-end chef's knives for
Yes.
everyday consumer. They used a 1 star review in their Facebook ads that said, "Too sharp. I nearly cut myself when I opened the box," or something like that.
Yeah.
Something that actually impressed upon the viewer of how amazing and how sharp these knives are. So they
That's
turned
awesome.
negative into a positive and made it quite funny. But I always recommend that merchants be leveraging their customer content across paid channels, whether it's just a snippet of text from the review body that they're using and highlighting, or whether it's their UGC that they're collecting photo and video from their audience. And that's all really authentic. And you can leverage the voice of the customer to attract new shoppers.
Yeah, yeah, that's a great example.
Something else you really have to be doing, it's newer, but you have to syndicate your review content over to TikTok Shop if you are selling on that channel.
Hmm.
It's been my most popular integration release, I would say in the last 12 months. People are going crazy for it, but leveraging
Uh,
that social proof across your paid media channels,
uh,
and across your various sales channels makes a big
yeah.
difference.
Yeah, look, I love bringing in that's true, especially for brands. That TikTok integration, I'm sure, has been dynamite.
Although if TikTok's going to be here by the time this is published, not sure.
Oh man, the economic world. Yeah, I have no crystal ball. I can't help you there. If you do, let me know. Um, another thing people ask a lot about is just personalization. I'm curious, you coach and work with so many brands. How are people kind of navigating that and this idea of really trying to bring personalization to the forefront?
Yeah, so this really circles back around nicely on collecting zero-party data at every touch point of that customer journey. So whether
Mhm.
it's in the quiz where you're collecting your skin type, skin tone, skin concern, or it's in your reviews, you're collecting somebody's body shape or their health concerns, their health goals, you can leverage all of that data and sync it across to, say, Klaviyo, Attentive, PostScript,
Yeah, yep,
and create segments based on those unique characteristics of your audience, and then send them personalized recommendations or speak to them on more of a one-to-one basis. We
yeah.
know how powerful that personalization is in converting at a higher rate. And so ultimately, it's more revenue into the business when you can have more of that personal conversation with your shopper.
Yeah, I love that, especially if you can bring these multiple systems together. That becomes so much more real to, I think, add that type of personalization. That's a great example. Rachel, we hit a bunch of different ideas in the session. I'm curious, we've gotten a lot of feedback. We got a lot of CX leaders, ops, marketing people, a lot of feedback, a lot of overwhelming, a lot of changes in the economic forefront. Some people feeling a little bit alone, always being asked to do more with less. Anything you'd leave the audience with today as kind of a tip, trick, best practice as we kind of wrap our session?
Yeah, I would say make sure that your tech stack is speaking to each other.
Hmm.
So setting up integrations is going to lighten the load on you and make sure that you're able to really provide the best customer journey. That's something that Okendo's always really held close to our hearts. We want to have
Hmm.
the best in class integrations with each of our tech.
So important. Yeah.
But it just makes it so much easier for the merchant at the end of the day when everything is communicating and you don't need to
Yeah.
press too many buttons or go above and beyond. It's all really quite seamless.
I love it. I love such a big one. So many tools today. If they don't talk to each other, it just creates actually a worse customer experience. I think that's
Doesn't it
great.
just?
Great piece of advice. So again, Rachel, thank you so much for joining. You guys have been a great partner here at Customer. And so again, thanks for taking the time. And for the audience, have a fantastic rest of the day.
Thank you, Gabe. Thanks, everyone.